Hi everyone, how's it going? Um, it's actually been a really great morning. I woke up today. In place of taunting, there's usually like a shockingly loud noise or stuff like that. It's gang stalking it, so it's gonna happen like that. But other than that, not much taunting. Uh, I think the little girl is taunting her family more than me now. I think that's probably always I think that's probably been the case for a while now. But other than that, it was just like beautiful. Like, woke up today, watched some really positive videos, sang a little bit in the shower, like even danced a little bit in the shower. So yeah, today was really, really good. It was nice. But then, apology stage, isn't it? So people need to observe what I'm like when the torture isn't as severe, and they need to observe like how my behavior is and stuff like that, so they can gauge exactly how the torture affects me and what that looks like. So if they can gauge the effects of, like, I'm not talking about the people upstairs now, I'm talking about the people that are in charge of, this lifelong shit that's happening to me. They need to know the effects of what I'm like when the abuse has died down. They need to know what I'm like when the abuse is ramped up, so that they can gauge how successful they are in attempting to break my spirit, which is the point of the torture. It's to break the spirit of a human being and to leave the person always slightly tired, always slightly hungry, always slightly stressed. That's a war tactic to weaken people's minds. It's been done before. So they need to know how effective the torture is against me, which is why the apology stages are important. The quieter moments are just as important as when the torture is ramped up, because they need to see the difference between Fabienne when she's tortured, not even just Fabienne, but any TI. They need to see the difference between when the torture is ramped up and when the torture isn't. And they need to be able to gauge the most successful way around basically just trying to break my spirit or what have you, or like successfully neutralizing me. So I think that the gang stalkers in general like are gauging what I'm like when the abuse has died down. So yeah, so they still like, there are still taunts and gaslighting and loud noises and noise disturbances here and there, but it's like it's reduced so that people can properly gauge what I'm like when all of this has died down. I've said this before, and it's worth saying again, because that's how gang stalking works, right? So that's what's going on at the moment. Everything's really, really quiet, died down. Yesterday, even after the police came round, the kids were still screaming, like, not at me, but like at each other. And I'm like, bro, like, just stop. And it wasn't even because of the effect on me. It was understand something, right? I don't give a fuck about those particular children, but I do care about children in general. And sure, I might not be like, the child abuse, crusader against child abuse that I made myself out to be in order to try and fucking make myself look good. I might not be the fucking child abuse crusader that I made myself out to be, but it still heavily affects me when children are mistreated or anything happens to children. So the whole time they were arguing upstairs and screaming, I'm like, please just stop. Like, please. Because that woman sold her kids out, the results of everything that's been happening, it could be a lot more serious than I thought. And again, the last thing I want is for anything to escalate. So it's like, I just don't want anything to escalate. I can't say in my heart of hearts that any of this is my fault, because it's not. I was minding my business. I was completely minding my business. This person can't control their children. The children were spying on me, trying to turn a game out of upsetting me and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that family's screwy and they don't know how to raise their kids. But for me, it's like, If it doesn't stop, then something outside my control is going to happen, and I don't want that to happen. Because let me tell you something right now, right? That same white privilege that is giving them the benefit of the doubt over me is exactly the same type of privilege that's going to land them in trouble. I do not want that to happen. All I want is for them to leave me alone. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. Okay? That's all I want. That's all I want. I want them to leave me alone. I do not want any like fucking escalation. I don't want anybody like, no. If I was to tell you how serious the shit could be, I don't want that. I just don't want that. All I want is to be left alone. That's it. That is it. That's all I want. So I don't give a fuck about those kids. It's true. I like those kids. No. But they are still children. And the thing is that when they're not raised properly, who are the ones that suffer the most out of everything? It's going to be them, isn't it? They're the ones who are going to suffer the most, not the adults. The adults will live another day. They'll be able to just do whatever the fuck they want to do. But this is the thing about adults and children, right? When we don't act right, it's not us that suffers. It's the children that suffer when we don't act right. So that's why I'm kind of like, no, I don't want anything to escalate. Like, just fucking leave me alone. And it's not just me, it's everyone else in their neighborhood too. Just leave me alone. And for the record, stop gaslighting me. Stop taunting me yourself, because the kids are learning it from you. Knock it off, okay? And I understand that in order for you to do that, you'd probably have to leave the case. Because I know you're being paid to do it. You'd probably have to leave the case in order to stop fucking with me. But if you keep fucking with me, the kids are going to fuck with me. And they're going to be more invested in doing it than you. And it's going to lead to bad consequences for them. So just knock it off. I don't want that. Because remember, it's not just me that's been making complaints. It's not just me. If it was just me, nobody would do anything. But other people have been making complaints too. Stop. Stop. Just stop. I don't want any of that shit. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. And I know the shit that I've been talking online. I know what I've been saying about their mental health, about like whether they're demons or animals or all that type of shit, like at the height of what was going on. I know all the things that I've said. And whilst I can't say in my heart of hearts that I'm ashamed of what I say, because I'm not, I understand that me saying all this stuff can sound really contradictory given all the things that I've said when my emotions were heightened. I understand why people would think, well, you said it yourself, you said the kids are to blame, you said the demons and the animals. I said, look, I don't give a fuck about them kids, but kids in general. Remember, kids in general. This system is not kind to the poor and the vulnerable. They're fucking hostile, okay? Why do you think gang stalking exists in the first place? It's a fucking purge operation. It's a fucking purge operation. And reporting people to mental health. There was one woman who was supposedly paranoid schizophrenic. And they, and she wasn't fed. She was basically starved to death in hospital. This shit is not a fucking joke. And like to subject a child to that type of system, really, like I'm really going to do that. Nah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been hearing more and more stories of people going to hospital, being starved to death. Those stories are becoming more and more increased now. Nah, shit is getting scary out here. It is not a joke. It's not a joke. That's why I don't fuck with that family. You really want to report fucking mental health on me out of revenge. And you know they're going to try and paint me as paranoid schizophrenic. You know they're going to lie. And look what happened to a paranoid schizophrenic black woman in hospital. Nah. They're hostile towards the vulnerable. And this is the same reason. Oh, feather. This is the same reason why I was really trying to be careful to leave the kids out of this. Like, as emotional as I was trying to leave the vulnerable people out of it. Like, trying to leave, like, the children out of it. Because, again, when we fuck up, when adults fuck up, the kids are the ones who got to suffer for it. When other people, so-called normal people, fuck up, it's the people who are disabled, it's people who are children, it's people who are poor. They are the ones who suffer the most when everybody else fucks up. I'm not trying to stick together with these people. I'm just saying. Even if they are perps, there are certain things I don't want. I don't want children to fucking, because this system is getting more and more brutal. I don't want the children to suffer because of our fuck up. That's not what I want. I don't care if they are child perps. I don't want that shit. Things are getting real out here. I don't want that. Things are getting fucking real. I don't want them children suffering like that. Sure, they need their asses beat by other children. Sure, they need other children to slap them up. But the one thing they don't need to do is to be chewed up by the same system that's literally trying to commit a fucking purge right now of vulnerable people. That's not what these children need. It's bad. It's bad. It needs to stop. It's bad. And think of this. These perps got reported by everybody. Everybody. Like, you're a perp and you still get reported by everybody. Do you know how bad that is? It's bad, man. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah. Need to be really careful. Like I said, the Fourth Reich is already here. This is not a game. It's not a fucking game. It's not a game. So no. Ask me if I give a fuck about that family. In particular, absolutely not. They've been vile to me for 3 months straight, told lies, engaged in smear campaigns, fucked with my privacy because they went around looking online and showing it to other people. And they're sharing it amongst each other as well. So fuck them, fuck that fucking family. But at the end of the day, as vulnerable people, watch your fucking step. And stop fucking with other people's lives. You entitled bastards. Yeah, things are getting very hostile for vulnerable folk. Real hostile. Yeah. I want them to leave me alone for my sake. I'm not saying that I do want them to leave me alone for my sake, but there could be heavy consequences just and people don't know how bad this system is. They don't know. They don't know. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta do my readings today. So, yeah. Started off on a wonderful note, didn't it? But yeah, this system is just not kind to the vulnerable. Even when they're perps, especially when they're perps, actually. That's why I say, like, joining gang stalking, it's a mugs game. You get nothing. You get nothing at the end of it. There's no way in hell I'd be a perp. The fuck? You couldn't pay me. Couldn't pay me, man. And that's knowing what other where I call it there, what other targets I've had to go through. You couldn't pay me. Anyway, I've got to do my daily readings. Just a preview. So I'm doing just doing this now. Yeah, so that's going to be one of the cards, well, one of the pair for today's reading overall. So check out Real Justice Tarot on YouTube. Well, they're not going to be on YouTube. They're going to be on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Check out Real Justice Tarot on all those three to keep up with my daily readings. You know what to do. Get your ass over there. I love you guys. And take care. Have a great day. I know, yeah, the sun's out. It's a good omen. Have a great day. I love all of you. You take care. Bye-bye.